salt in my coffee. I've got Nellie here and Felix, who is going to help me answer a really common question that comes up about this time of year from new chicken owners, which is, when are my new hens going to start laying eggs? Now, Felix here just turned 4 months old 2 days ago, and she has started some behavior that clues us in that it's not going to be long before she starts laying eggs. The really short answer to your question is that most chickens start laying eggs between 16 and 24 weeks of age, but there are a lot of different factors that come into play there. One thing that definitely influences when your chicken starts laying eggs is what their breed is. This is probably more influential than almost any other factor. Now, in general, and this is a very broad generalization, breeds that are specifically bred for egg laying. So we're not talking dual purpose, heavy chickens that are meant for both eggs and meat, but the egg layers, so like, a leghorn or a buff, or, some of these sex-linked crosses that you get that are all pullets. They often go by names like Comet or Star, things like that. These are chickens that are going to start laying, if they have everything they need, they're bound to start laying eggs on the younger side of things. So you might be able to start looking for your first eggs sometime right after they turn 16 weeks old. On the other hand, if you have meat chickens, so a heavier breed that's either a dual purpose or specifically meant for meat production, something like, a buckeye, for example, you're probably going to be waiting a little bit longer for your first eggs. And certainly if those are a type of chicken that are a more heritage breed, something that hasn't been highly bred for egg production, you may be waiting, 22 or 24 weeks. Hey, Felix. Another thing that really influences how quickly your chicken is going to be able to start laying eggs is what kind of feed you've had them on. And I'm talking right since hatch. If you brought your chickens home as day-old chicks and got them right on a really high quality starter feed, that's definitely one of the best investments that you can make in the number of eggs that your chicken is going to lay over a lifetime. Now, early nutrition for chickens, as with so many other creatures, really affects how much that creature is going to thrive, not just in those early days, but over the whole course of their life. And with chickens, that results in both higher egg production, and to some extent that can also influence how soon they're able to start laying eggs. Hey, Felix, you just cracked me up, kiddo. Things that can make it take a little bit longer for your chicken to start laying eggs are things like stress. So for example, is there a dog that comes around all the time and chases them? Something like this is going to create stress in the coop. If you've got too many roosters, that's another source of stress. Not having enough space, being too crowded. These are all things that can definitely negatively impact a chicken, and when they start laying eggs, it of course is not going to keep them from laying eggs forever, but the healthier and more peaceful your chicken is, the more you're making an environment in which they can start laying eggs as soon as they're old enough and continue to lay as many eggs as possible throughout the course of their lifetime. Another thing that can delay the onset of laying in your chickens is illness. Have they ever dealt with a respiratory disease or a heavy parasite load is another thing. If they're not in robust health, of course, they're not going to be able to be laying eggs. They're actually having fun with each other. My turkey and my golden retriever play. This is something that they do 3 or 4 times a day. Nellie gets out a toy and kind of baits Leo with it, and they sort of chase each other back and forth, and it's all good fun, and it's completely ridiculous, and I love it. Another really big factor that can affect when your chickens are going to start laying eggs is how much light they get. What time of year were they hatched? Now, Felix was hatched in March, which means she's coming of age in the middle of July. At some point between now and the middle of August, we're going to see that girl start laying her first little pullet eggs. I'm so excited. it's just always an exciting thing when your chickens start laying those first little cute eggs, and they don't stay little for long. Usually just the first 1 or 2 eggs are a little bit smaller. Yeah, she's gonna start laying eggs soon. She was hatched in March. She's coming of age in the summer where there's a lot of light. The daylight hours are still good and long. If you are hatching out a chick that gets hatched, you know, for example, in September, that chicken is going to be coming of age somewhere between October, November, December, January, February, somewhere in there, middle of winter. If your chicken is coming of age in the middle of winter and you don't also have supplemental light in your coop, they are going to be coming of an age when they could start laying eggs at a time of year when there's not enough light to prompt them to do that. And so chances are, at least if you live, you know, not close to the equator where your daylight hours are, you know, somewhat equal all year round. If you're up here in Maine where we are, somewhere in the, somewhere away from the equator, she's probably going to wait until spring to start laying those eggs when she's got enough daylight hours. Now you can always add a light to the chicken coop and increase your daylight hours by half an hour every couple of days until she starts laying. But if possible, getting your chicks, your day-old chicks in the early spring definitely is helpful for getting them laying at the proper time of year, and you know, it works more naturally with their natural cycle of maturation. Now, if your chicken is starting to get old enough to lay eggs and she's got everything she needs, she's got great nutrition, she has enough hours of daylight, watch her closely because you're probably going to start seeing some clues as she gets closer to laying those eggs. Now, I'm going to go track down little Felix because she done RUNNOFT. She ran off, and I'm going to track her down because she's going to help me show you what some of these clues are. Yeah, is that exciting? That is exciting. Hey, Leo, I always enjoy it when you come over and keep me company. You're a good old boy. What do you think? Should we go find Felix? Did you see where she went? Let's go find that girl. Well, Felix, this is actually one of the clues that you might want to start laying eggs soon. I could not have timed it better. You found yourself an old bushel basket on its side, and you're really looking for a good place for a nest. You're starting to get interested in nests. That's exciting. This heap of things that I need to take to the dump is not the spot, but one good clue that your chicken might be ready to start laying eggs is looking for a nesting spot or showing some interest in the existing nesting boxes. Hey, Felix, little girl, there you are. Now, you did not lay an egg today, but that's okay. You're interested in nesting boxes, and that is a great sign. Hey, want to help me with something else? I want to show them how you do this. If I bring my hand over her back, look what she does. Hey. Do you see how she's doing this little squat where she's got her wings out? Tough to see. There's some really elusive behavior that I've been trying to catch with Felix because she started doing it, and it's something that we kind of think of as the squat of submission, where if a hand goes over her back, all of a sudden she'll squat down and stay in position, basically so that a rooster could mount her and basically she's ready to breed. If you all of a sudden start to see this behavior from your chickens, definitely it's not going to be long until there are eggs. Oh my goodness, all these flies. Another clue your chicken might start laying eggs soon is the roosters start to pay attention. Now, it's a really common behavior with roosters to do some scratching around near the girls that are mature enough to be able to lay eggs. They're sexually mature. Often you don't see that behavior with a rooster toward the younger pullets until they're old enough to be laying eggs. If you suddenly see that your roosters are noticing the girls, then that means they're starting to get old enough that you're probably going to see some eggs before too long. Would you agree? Hey, big scrawny. Where are you checking out those pretty young ladies? It's a pretty girl. Look at that bright red comb and pretty wattles. Those were not that bright even a week ago. And you know what? That's another great clue that you're going to start laying eggs soon. as a chicken is getting ready to lay eggs, you'll all of a sudden see a change in the color of her wattles and her comb. They may already be nicely red, but all of a sudden they're going to get bright red. If you really watch your chickens closely, you're going to be able to notice this difference. Once you see that change in a brighter color to their comb and wattles, chances are eggs are not going to be long behind. Well, if you've got new chickens and you're eagerly waiting for them to start laying eggs, I hope these few clues may have been a bit helpful. If you've still got questions about when your chicken is going to start laying eggs, go ahead and ask in the comments below. If you're looking for more clues about ducks laying eggs, I've got a whole post on that. I'll link that down below as well. Thank you so much for joining me. My name is Anna. This is saltinmycoffee.com.